We're talking with legendary coach Duane Webster here with us on WTLS, the Wake Up Call. Coach, it's good to see you. It's been a long time since I've seen you, but I'm glad I finally got you on the radio. Have you been on the air with us before at WTLS?
No, I haven't. Not since I coached at Towson.
Can you believe that? Now, that's my mistake. I should have called you before now, but I'm glad you came down to be with us today. We want to talk about your history as a football coach, a legendary one at that, as I mentioned, and a Hall of Fame coach, and how it kind of all came about. If you will, let's go back to when you were young, in school, getting ready to play for Coach O'Brien. You said you just played 1 year of football, but you played basketball as well. Can you go back and tell us about your relationship with Coach O'Brien and how that kind of came about?
Well, my first tenure at Towson was when I was in the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
We had just moved. My mother and my brother Charles and my sister Carolyn had moved with my mother down on the river road. She had left my father, and we lived down there about 2 weeks. And I was in school over at Towson at the 7th grade. Mr. Little was my shop teacher. That goes way back. And Carolyn and Charles were in the East Towson school. That went through the 6th grade at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And police came to the schools and got bothered. My father had killed my mother and he killed himself. That was back in 1943.
Wow.
That was in November. And then we had 3 older sisters, and they each took one of us. And I went with Thelma, my sister Thelma Golden, to Reeltown. I went through most of the 7th grade to the 11th grade at Reeltown. Excuse me. But I was having a hard time because me and my brother-in-law couldn't get along too well. I had a lot of friends that took me in from time to time. In my last 3 years, I lived with a different family, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. In the 12th grade was Emory Daniel and his wife, Frances, Mary Frances, in Carville. She was a Pemberton. And somebody had made it rain when we got to work in the mill from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning, which I did. I was making 80 cents an hour for 4 hours every morning, and I'd get to school about 11 o'clock, do my classes. Fortunately, I did some extra classes at Reeltown, so I didn't have to take many classes either. And that I played football and basketball. I'd never played football before. I was a pretty good basketball player. I had made all county at Reeltown the year before. And I made all district, me and Jackie Williams at Towson my senior year, which was a big honor.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, because it was in districts. There might be 20 or 25 teams in a district. Yeah. And we went to the state tournament, played Murphy in the first round. We got beat by about 3 or 4 points. And back then, of course, he was a basketball coach also.
Coach O'Brien, obviously. Yeah. That was your senior year again, the 12th grade year. You came to Tallahassee. Your first year here, first year of football, and play basketball. Coach O'Brien coaching you both.
Right.
So talk about that connection with Coach O'Brien. He kind of took you under his wing, didn't he?
Well, he was just a good person. I mean, he might be a better person than he was a coach. Some people say that, it all goes together.
Yeah.
And he kind of took me under his wing because I was country boy come to the city. And there was a few little people on the football team that liked country boys. So I had to go through a little harassment, nothing major. And but they were teased that I wished I wasn't out there. And I thought I knew what football was about till I actually got out there. I had always wanted to try to play, and they didn't have the opportunity real time because we didn't have a team there.
Yeah. What year was this?
48.
48.
48, 49.
This would have been right after the winning streak for Coach O'Brien, right?
Yeah.
So what position did you play in football?
End, tight end.
Yeah. Both ways, offense and defense?
Yeah.
Yeah. After your time here at Tallahassee, as a player, you went into the military, right, in the service?
Joined the Air Force right out of high school in 1940, in June of 1949. Korean War broke out in 1950, early summer 1950. And I had just finished radio school, and I was, my MOS was a 2950, 39950, which was flight radio operator. I was on the cargo planes. They got big planes, and we flew the Korean Air the Korean airlift, they called it, out of Seattle, Washington, a Mccoy Air Force Base, which is really Tacoma, but they jammed up together. And we did that for a year and a half, and then I was transferred to Japan, and I spent the last 9 months of my Air Force career. Career boy was over in the early 53. So I was in there almost from start to finish. And I got discharged, messed around a while, went out to California for a couple of weeks, see some friends I had made while I was in the Air Force. Came back home, started school at Auburn on the GI Bill. I was $105 a month. And got a $25 increase when Vera and I married in November '53.
Met her at school there? You were there, Vera, at Auburn when y'all met, right?
No, we met here at Tunnelson.
Oh, you did?
And again, I worked in the cotton mill all the time I was going to Auburn. And sometimes I'd work 4 hours, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes I'd work in the craft room. And I'd work on the weekends. I'd be the only one in the craft room. I guess somebody was trying to help me out again. But I was.
When you got through at the mill, and in school, I guess, at Auburn, you graduated, you decided you want to go into coaching? Was it a sure thing yet when I get through with school?
I started out at Auburn in March of '53. And it was on the quarter system then. Auburn was.
Yeah.
And tuition was unbelievable, $45 a quarter.
How things have changed.
But we carpooled. Most of us, well, in fact, I think all of us were veterans. living in the Tallahassee area. We'd each drive a week, and most of the time we were through by 12, and drove back, and then I'd go to the mill at 2 o'clock, work sometime 10 hours, 8 hours, sometimes just 4, and
Well, did you start out, did you plan to be a coach when you went to Auburn?
no, I was going to major in accounting, but I had played a lot of athletics while I was in the Air Force, and of course I had done it in the high school too. My sports was always important to me. But anyway, after I think it fell quarter, I told Vera, I said, well, I'll change my mind, I'm gonna go into coaching. And I switched, and fortunately I didn't lose any hours, because some of them applied in that field and some of them could do what you call extras.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated in December of '56, but I started coaching in Reeltown in August of '56.
You were still a student when you became
I
the
was
coach.
technically still a student,
Yeah.
although I wasn't in school, because I had loaded up my hours that quarter.
Yeah.
And 23 was the most you could take, but I was doing a home study, 5 points, so I couldn't turn in but 3 points of that. And as soon as the quarter was over, I turned it in, and but graduation was then in December.
Yeah, when you got the job in Reeltown, you were interested in basketball, right? And they wanted a football coach and a basketball coach, but I guess it ended up being both.
Well, I had actually agreed verbally to take a job at Wedowee as basketball coach and sister football, because I felt like I was more qualified. I didn't feel like I was qualified to coach football. I didn't play for 1 year. Fortunately, I got to play under one of the best that ever was. So. But that's the way it happened. But I had a group of men there that Reeltown's athletic program was terrible. They hadn't won but 1 game and tied one the last 3 years before I went there. And the basketball wasn't any better. And I told them they kept bugging me to take the job at Reeltown. I said, I just don't feel qualified. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But anyway, they finally convinced me to do it. So I went to work.
How long did you do football and basketball together?
9 years, and then I took a break for basketball, and then in my last basketball season, I coached in 1969 and '70, which was my last year when I was a Reeltown before I came to Tulsa.
Talk about that, the chance that you got to come back. Which you did play in Tallahassee. You did go to school at both when you were a student, but Tallahassee contacted you, wanted you to take the job. Was Coach O'Brien any part of that, and you getting the position, or how did that come about for you?
I actually have no idea if he had anything to do with it or not. Mr. Little and MacArthur, principal,
Yes.
They came to see me, and then I went down to see them, and I more or less took the job on that second meeting, which was at Tallahassee.
What was it that convinced you to take it? Because you were very successful at Reeltown. You 14 seasons, won 98 football games, an undefeated season, your final year there before the Tallahassee job. What was it that said, all right, I think I want to come here and coach?
Well, money was a big part of it.
I figured that. Sometimes that has something to do with it, doesn't it?
I had been successful at Reeltown. I thought I deserved more money than I was getting. I wouldn't give them $500 a month to coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach both football and basketball. And at Tallahassee, I got a good raise. And I was a nice place to live for $40 a month. That's when I was in old teachers. And it was but they had a good team the year before I took over. Like they went 8-2. And but most of that team graduated. We went 4-6 the first year, which wasn't too bad, considering the schedule we had to play.
Yeah.
Then the next 2 years were awful. 1 win each. Then we won 4 again my last year. And I could see what was coming in when we were going to be better. But we still, the schedule was too tough.
What was it? I mean, it just wasn't talent schedule. Maybe was it that didn't correlate the victories?
It was going back to old times, the good times. See, Coach O'Brien spoiled everybody.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
But he, like a lot of other schools at that time, had a lot of veterans coming back and playing. And that was, I mean, they had some real good ones. And then you had players, a few, every now and then come in from somewhere else. I guess because, I have no idea, but because they wanted to play under a good coach or something, maybe might help them get a scholarship. I don't know that, but I'm just guessing a little bit.
So after you coached at Tallahassee, you were here for 4 years.
I didn't coach for 2 years.
You took a couple of years off. So how did it come about? You obviously get to go back to Reeltown and finish out your career.
Well, I went to work in the mill as a apprentice supervisor. They were going to put me in the supervisor capacity. And I worked there about 6 months. And then I started getting started laying people off, but I could see what was going to happen. So I went looking, got a job over at Smith Station for 2 weeks, teaching 8th grade and some PE courses. And then T.C. Britton was who had been the coach at Smith Station, and a very successful coach. He had moved up to superintendent. And he gave me a job over at Waukucha Junior High School, just between Auburn and between Opelika and Smith Station. Then his coach in high school was a superintendent at Elmore County, and Jack Ray was his name. He was a good coach, but he had become superintendent. And his drive head teacher, Wayne Hammond, no. Oh, what's his name? Lived in Tallahassee, used to. Anyway, he got a job working with the state, but they wouldn't release him until he found somebody to take his place. because the two superintendents got together, and I went to Wetumpka then as a drive ed teacher for the rest of that year. And then that was,
I think the
then I
job.
came back to Reeltown and taught the 4th and 6th grades. Because I didn't like driving to over that far every day. And that was probably my favorite year teaching.
Teaching the kids, the young kids, yeah.
I mean, then Coach Gilliland left Reeltown, and me and Mr. Nix asked me if I was interested in the job again. I said, yeah. And then we got even better.
The rest is history. Yeah, from there, even better because you were really good the first stretch there, but it did improve, and you ended up making a state championship, making another one, and winning one at the end. An incredible career, which became a Hall of Fame career for you. Could you imagine you'd have that road? Because it is an interesting, circuitous route to get to where you were. Think about it. You know, Reeltown, Tennessee. Didn't know if you're going to coach again. Back to Reeltown, and then the way it went after that.
Yeah, my record at Tennessee wasn't very good at all, but I swore it over down.
Yeah.
You take the bad with the good.
It did go very well. I do want to talk about the matchup between the two that did come about. Is there any time when you were at Tennessee or Reeltown that the talk was around that we might try to play a game between each other? Did it ever come up? And was there a reason why it never happened until 1984 when you became the coach again over at Reeltown?
In my mind, a few times I kind of wish we did, and mainly because of the money. A game like Tennessee would pay Reeltown's athletic pro for the year. Steve McCoy, do you remember him?
Yes.
He coached there in '84. I mean, the year before. I get it right now.
84. He became the coach in 1984. Mark Rice was the coach '83, and then Steve came in '84, the year you played them in '84. The first time Tennessee and Reeltown played.
Let's see. 84. Oh, that's the year we went to 2A. That's when
right.
they went to new classification.
Sixth classification.
They went to 6th classification.
That's right.
And we played Towson that year. Who was the coach but the year before that?
Mark Rice.
Yeah. He's the one that started it. He approached me about us playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steve McCoy came on board as coach.
And, yeah, the first year you actually played.
Yeah.
Didn't you play some type of spring scrimmage game before that? In the springtime between Tennessee and Reeltown? No?
No.
Okay. So the first game was '84, obviously. What was it like getting that game on the schedule for people around Tennessee and Reeltown? I'm sure there was a lot of hype and interest when they knew it was going to finally
I
happen.
played Towson that year in Elmore County, which we played for a number of years. And Davie, I didn't play Davie when I was coaching the first 14 years, but they had picked one another up while I was at Tennessee. I played Davie while I was at Tennessee. He was one of the few people I beat a couple of times.
You had a pretty good record at Reeltown versus Tennessee. Now the first game went to Tennessee here in Tennessee, 36-21.
I was 3-1 against them.
Yeah, you won the next three.
And then I understand they've been this tied 16-16.
Yeah, 16 years, 8-8 is the score. Yeah, the record between
Yeah,
each
I
other.
know.
Right. So it's been even. It's been a great rivalry as far as competitive value on that. What do you think about it coming back now that it's going to happen again?
Well, I'm kind of glad in one way. I just hope that don't let things get out of hand. That's what happened the last time. According to Coach O'Neal and some other people, fans got too involved, involved. I hope it works out because it's good for both schools.
I want to talk about when you had your final year, the state championship year, 1987, 15-0 season, and you decide to retire, and there's really not a better way to go out than a perfect year and a state title. So were you thinking about a state, during that state championship year about retirement? Did that make that decision for you? How did that come about?
I had told Beaver that was probably going to be my last year for the school. Or school even
You
started.
told him then, huh? No?
They told me.
They told you, okay.
Yeah.
No, I was tired.
You were, okay.
I was assistant principal, and I coached basketball again that one year. But the principal asked me to do it. We had a very good year. We came within 1 point of the state tournament. We won 23 games and lost 4. And O'Neal was my freshman point guard. And I had 4 seniors in the other starting lineup. We had a good team. So I went out on the bang, but I had really made my mind up to retire. And the spring of 88, which was my last year.
Yeah.
We were having spring training. I told, we'd been out there a few days, and I told Coach O'Neal and Coach Hammond, I said, y'all finish the day out. I said, I got to go to Davie. I went up to see the superintendent, had a big conversation with him, and I recommended Coach O'Neal for the job then. Coach Hammond did not want to be the head coach. He was seniority-wise, he would have been. But Coach O'Neal had come on in '78 season. So
88, so yeah, 88.
And of course, he's in the Hall of Fame.
He's
too.
in the Hall of Fame like you are.
Yeah. So we got Coach Johnson there now. We got to get him in the Hall of Fame.
You got to do that if you're going to be a real town coach. Yeah.
And if you want to be winners, you have to have coaches like Coach Hammonds and Coach
no
O'Neal.
doubt, the supporting cast helps as well. You talk about being inducted into the high school Hall of Fame, the AHSA Hall of Fame, and what that means to you to get that.
It meant a lot to me. Coach Dan Washman was the executive secretary at that time, and he called me one night. And my name was put in the year before. I didn't in '93, but they didn't pick me that year. It was the next year, in '94, which was the 4th year of the Hall of Fame. Coach O'Brien, was in the first year. I think he was voted the top coach. And then in '85, they had a coaches poll, and I was picked for the 2A Coach of the Year, which I think was a mistake. I think there was other coaches that deserved that better than I did, because they had won more games and won more championships. But then but anyway, I didn't turn it down.
When did they name the stadium after you? When did your name go up on the stadium? Do you remember that? When it became?
In '82.
'82.
When had built a new stadium.
Then it became Webster Stadium. Now it's Webster O'Neill Stadium. So
Yeah.
And you now have a name of a highway after yourself.
Yeah,
as well.
that was a big surprise. So. I think some of my ex-players have got involved in that. Well, I know they did.
Yeah, Highway 120 is now.
But I didn't know anything about it. And the sad thing, when we were having the program about it, my hearing is so bad I couldn't. People getting up there talking, I didn't even know what they're saying. I didn't know what I was getting until we went out to the one that got hung up there now, waiting for the state to put this.
Then you figured it out, yeah. So you made the state championship game 2 times. I do want to kind of touch on that a little bit. The '84 team was so close to a state title. Talk about that team as well.
Well, the '84 team won the title too. We just had a biased official.
They won it. They just got it stolen from them.
The '85 team went 12-1, and we should have been state champions that year. At least played for it, but we slipped up the 3rd game in the playoff. Got beat 14-7.
And then you do win it in '87. Officials and all aside.
We went in '86 and went to the semifinals. So in a 4-year period there, we were 51-6.
Incredible record. The '87 team that went 15-0. You only allowed 15 points in the regular season. Only 3 teams scored on you in the season, and then of course you swept the playoffs. It's just an unbelievable dominant team that you had there.
Yeah, we went Coach Bird at Elmore County. He won the state championship in 4A. We beat him.
Yeah, you really could have said you were the 4A title holder too, because you beat Elmore County 28-0, and they ended up winning the 4A state championship that year. Yeah. What's it like when you finally get the championship? And you did beat Winston County for the state title 9-7. What's that like to win that championship?
Well, it was up at Double Springs, Winston County. They had upset the week before, Hazelwood.
Mm-hmm.
They had a very good team. And Coach Hammond got sick on me. I mean, he was sick. But they rode him in the car. He made sure he got there. And but we scored 9 points the first time. They scored 7. That's the way it wound up.
How'd you score? Was it touchdown and a safety, or what? How did you get your 9?
Field goal and a touchdown.
Kicked the field goal game.
Scott Meadows kicked the field goal. He was my kicker that year.
That's the difference in the game.
Second half, they kept the ball on us so most of the second half. We played defense second half like we had never played it before, although we played it good.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach Hammond was in charge of defense. And when he got through looking at the tapes at you was in trouble. He was one of the best, if not the best. Well, he was certainly the best real time I ever had. As putting in a game plan on defense. And he and Coach O'Neill worked together. Coach O'Neill worked the secondary, and Coach Hammond worked the other part. I had 2 good assistant coaches for 10 years. That was fun time. We got along well. And In '85, going back to '85, when I was selected as 2A coach, not only just that year, but up to that time. And I was also selected in the top 20 all time. Me and Coach Burt both. You know, we had some excellent teams, won 3 state championships. We used to play a lot of golf together. We were good friends. And, well, I was good, but most of the coaches that I coached against, we wound up being good friends.
30 years in the coaching business and a whole lot of wins, 218 over that time. So, since the retirement, do you still keep up a whole lot? I know you still watch some games. What's it been like on that side of it?
Oh, my grandson played at St. James. I moved to Montgomery when my son-in-law came down with the Lou Gehrig's disease, Brad Christian,
right,
whom I coached while I was at Tallahassee. He was a 10th grader when I left. They were living in Montgomery then. He worked for the power company. He was supervisor of all the crews, underground crews
And Duane, he just coached his grandson after that. Didn't you, Duane? You coached Chase. You had a lot of fun just coaching Chase in your remaining years of coaching. All of your remaining years in coaching, you coached your grandson, didn't you?
Yeah, when he was 10 and 11 years old,
yeah,
I coached him. Me and another guy coached at youth league.
I know what you're talking about. Was that the most fun of all the years of getting to do that, maybe, or a lot of memories?
Chase, that's his name, Chase Christian. He was a very good basketball player and football player. And he just got married this past Saturday.
Yeah, how about that?
He's 31
29.
years old.
29.
29.
Yep.
And he's on his honeymoon now. He's due back tomorrow.
But you see how his eyes light up.
He works for the power company.
Right.
The Southern company now.
Yep.
He's a energy trader.
Well, Coach, this has been a real pleasure for me. I sure appreciate your time and kind of strolling down memory lane with some of the great stories that you had to tell over your career.
Well, Michael, it's great to be with you. I'm sorry I was a little more, but my memory is not as good as it used to be.
That's pretty good. When you're reeling off all those names, I couldn't do that, I guarantee you. So, Coach, thanks again. It's good to talk to you. Take care.